Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt. We are back with a recap of Battle for Atlantis, a look ahead to the next couple of weeks. And we'll just start there kind of with a podcasting programming update. I go out of town on this Wednesday through the following Wednesday. So traveling this day, hopefully there by the time the Tennessee game starts, so I can watch that one Wednesday night and then get back the Wednesday after the UConn game. So the next three games we'll kind of take a look at. I won't get another podcast until I'm back from there, and possibly even who do we play that game? Oklahoma, I think. After UConn, no, Kentucky. That's a big break in there. We'll get a one. So after the UConn before Kentucky, we'll get a one in there. But thank you for jumping in, for listening. If you're listening to this later, appreciate you supporting the podcast. And just if you aren't subscribed, wherever you're listening to this, subscribe so that you this always gets to your feed, as we don't have a regular schedule. But let's kind of jump in here. We're going to recap the Battle for Atlantis. Decent outing for the Tar Heels. 2-1. I guess we got what we wanted. Maybe not. I guess it's kind of the game, the teams we expected to see, but maybe not where we expected to see them. And so, like I said, decent outing. Got a good win against UNI. I think it was Adam Lucas said on their podcast, his and Jones's podcast. Kind of interesting. These are, we kind of expect these are the best teams they've seen as they see them every day. So UNI was the best team this season that we had seen so far, and then Villanova was the best team we had seen up to that point. And they were probably better than Arkansas, or at least played better. So I don't know that you can necessarily say that about the third day, but another big time matchup with Arkansas on the third day. So let's start with the first one. UNI, like we've been doing this season, came out a little sluggish, let them hung around too long. We were actually down 6 at halftime. Um, weren't shooting the ball well first half. We shot 3 for 13 from three. We shot 9 for 27 from the field goal or from the field overall. Like I said, we were down 6 at that point, and then we kind of came out like gangbusters in the second half. Started knocking down threes, starting running the floor, kind of imposing our will, and we get the 91-69 win over UNI Panthers in the first round. Good game for us. Harrison Ingram, another good outing, 16 and 10, along with 3 assists to go with that. Shot 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. Really good overall, and he really kind of saved us. I think it was this one in the first half. Actually, I think that was Villanova kind of saved us in the first half. I don't know where we would have been. So Cormac Ryan knocked down 3 threes as well. Also went 6 for 6 from the free throw line to get his 15 points, 4 boards, 3 blocks, a couple assists as well. RJ 13 points, 4 assists, but 3 turnovers as well. He knocked down 3 threes. Armando did get up to 10 points, 8 boards, kind of an off night, only shot 8 times. He was 3 for 8 from the field in just 22 minutes as well. Um, let's see, Seth Trimble actually got the start in this one in the first half, and then Withers started the second half when we did a little bit better. And Cadeau, 15 points in this game, 3 assists to no turnovers. I think I saw a stat. Elliot Cadeau was 21-1 as far as assists to turnovers in this game, and I think the assist was like second half of the Arkansas game or something. But Jalen Withers, like I said, started the second half. He had 11 points, 4 rebounds, a couple assists, a block as well. In his 21 minutes, knocked down a 3, as did Elliott. And then we had 6 points from Paxson Wojcik, 3 from Jalen Washington, and 2 from Zayden High to kind of finish out our scoring. But yeah, really good second half for us. Just again, started off too sluggish, too slow, and we can't do that against good teams, but rebounded well enough in the second half of this one. That brings us to Villanova in the second game. This is probably the best game as far as I don't know. Arkansas was competitive, but this was a back and forth game. I know they kept showing how many times it was tied and lead changes. Here it says 19 times it was tied, 23 lead changes. So really back and forth. Actually, it went into overtime. Big time shot by Cormac to send us into overtime, but Even before we get that, the good stuff, I guess, RJ Davis went off for 23 points, hit two threes, but took 8 shots to get there. Was not very efficient. 8 for 22 overall. Harrison, like I said, this is the game where he definitely carried us in the first half. I don't know where we would have been without him in the first half, but he knocked down like three threes, I think, something like that in the first half. He was 4 for 5 overall from the 3 point line, 6 for 8. Problem is, he probably should have shot more. Only 8 shots to get 20 points. Only a couple rebounds in this one. He ended up fouling out. I think that was even before overtime. That kind of really hurt us because he was posting up guys and kind of playing point guard out of the post. He was, and by that I mean hitting guys for threes, um, and knocking down threes, like I said earlier. And it really hurt us when he went out. Another really good game for Harrison. Probably been our most consistent player this point in the season. 18 points for Cormac, shot 2 for 6 from three, 7 for 12 overall, 3 rebounds, 3 turnovers as well. Armando again struggled with this one. He did have 18 rebounds in this one, but just 8 points, um, 4 for 10 again, shooting overall. Not very efficient there. And yeah. And then we just didn't get the same from the bench as well. We got 5 from Seth, 3 from Elliott. Oh, and I should say Jalen Withers did start this game again. That's been, people have been saying Paxton Wojcik shouldn't be starting, so they started Seth in the UNI game, and then that didn't go well in the first half. So Withers started the second half, started this game as well. And then we'll get to the Arkansas one, but a little bit different situation in that one. But this one, so I mean that's the good stuff. We competed. We were there as a good game, as back and forth. We never kind of relented. The bad stuff is really, and I guess for the whole tournament, you'd say, and I'd been warning since the beginning of the season is our defense. We allow too much dribble drives. Guys just get by us. We have to help. They kick out for threes, or we don't help and they get layups. Just not good enough. And as much as I don't like Jimmy Dykes as an announcer, I think he was spot on, or he was right. He kept saying it over and over and over, which is annoying, but he was right. Is we just open up too much. We're forcing them left, or we're forcing them, baseline or whatever it is, and we're just too open, and they get right past us. Whereas, as he was saying too, you watch Villanova, they come out and they're square. They're squaring you up, and just pretty much saying you're not going to get past me. Whereas we were like, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're beating us this side. And again, I don't know if it's being taught that or it's habit or why, but it's everybody on our team. And so it's like we're forcing you baseline, we're going to cut you off or something, or we're forcing you towards help, or I don't know what it is. We're just not letting you go middle, but we're too open. Even if you're going to say, force them to the side, or we're not going to let them go middle, we can't be so wide open that they just beat us off the dribble like that. So that was a big thing. And then the other frustrating thing is Villanova pretty much ran one play. They had either Moore or Dixon post up, and they just backed us up, and then pump fake, pivot, pump fake, whatever, and got the layup, or eventually we'd help off. They kick out for an open three, but really they didn't even shoot the three well. They were 5 for 22 overall from three. Problem is we just didn't make them shoot that enough. We never double teamed into the post until the last minute of regulation. There was 1 minute left in regulation. We went and double teamed. They kicked it out. They swung it around. Had a decent looking three, but they didn't knock it down. The next time we had one more possession in regulation. Did the same thing. We double teamed the post. They kicked it out. Again, decent look from three, but they didn't knock it down. I don't know why we couldn't try that earlier. Why we just couldn't mix it up. It was we'd switch up guys and we're like, okay, you got more. Switch it up. You got more. You're guarding Dixon, whatever. Those two guys just kept backing us up, and really there was more of them. There was more guards that brought us into the post, but it was just those two over and over and over. Justin Moore and Eric Dixon, and we actually let Eric Dixon. Now I know he knocked down 3 threes in this game, most of them early. And I guess we had to come out farther on him or whatever. I don't know, but um, why we couldn't just double team him or something just to get the ball out of his hands. But we let him go for 34 points, 10 rebounds. Probably put him on the All American watch list. Kind of what people do to North Carolina seems like lately. But the adjustment or the lack of adjustment is kind of what just frustrated me is they ran the same set, the same thing over and over and over, and we didn't do anything until 1 minute left in the regulation, which actually worked for us both times. And then on offense, when guys started getting foul trouble, we were playing through Harrison. It was good. We were playing pretty free flowing. Ball was moving. And then when people started getting foul trouble, it's like we reverted to last year, and it was all like isolation for RJ. Get the ball for RJ, and he's going to create off the dribble. Which he had 23 points. He did great. Again, wasn't very efficient. He got some layups. He drove in. He dished some off. It was great, but just much harder offense to watch than what we had been seeing. And to revert back to that and then watch them do what they were doing, it was just very frustrating. And really, there was kind of two times where it seemed like Hubert Davis called a set. One was to end kind of the end of regulation where Cadeau drove baseline. I think RJ was kind of the decoy, and Elliott drove baseline, kicked it over to the corner. Cormac hits the three, ties it up. We go to overtime. And then in overtime, again, there was kind of one set where it seemed like we actually ran a play, and RJ, I think it was RJ, maybe it was Elliott. One of them drove in, dumped it off to Armando, dunk. I mean, great success off both of them that we did. I don't know why we couldn't do that more and why we couldn't stop them, but for whatever reason, it didn't end up with an 83-81 loss. And again, it just kind of seemed. Now, I would say I didn't really like what the refs did in this game. It did not seem. I don't know what the foul count was. We had 30, they're 22, so we only had 8 more fouls. But we fouled 3 guys out. There wasn't much of a flow because of the foul calls, and it just seemed very different from first half to second half, and what we could do compared to what they could do. Again, I'm not going to blame the refs. I don't think it's why we lost the game, but I didn't like that as well. This one and the Arkansas. Arkansas, it seemed like it was more bad for both teams. This one seemed like it was more bad for us, but didn't really like the foul calls being called in this game again. But I don't think that's what lost us the game. It was a lot of that we could have done differently to kind of win this game, but we just didn't for whatever reason. So it is what it is, I guess. Good team. That what stinks is they had lost a stinker, I think at home even. I don't remember who they lost to, but somebody not good. And then so that takes them down. Now they look a lot better as they get used to their coach, as they get used to each other and stuff. Kind of like what we say to everybody this year is having to get used to new players and stuff like that. But they definitely look like a tournament team today. This game, and it seemed kind of like a Sweet 16. I don't know if I'd say a Elite Eight type atmosphere, but I would say a round of 32 Sweet 16 kind of round game is what this kind of felt like. And like I said, they looked good. I just feel like we could have done more to kind of affect the outcome to be better in our um, favor. So as an 83-81 loss to Villanova. And again, the bad thing is Villanova goes on to the championship, faces Memphis, who took down Arkansas and just absolutely murdered Memphis. Memphis, I don't know, just didn't show up or whatever. But that was brutal. And that could have been us. We could have gone 3-0 and just is destroyed Memphis. And think about what I think people will talk positive about us coming out of this tournament. But just think if we would have gone 3-0 and just blasted Memphis in the tournament. I haven't even heard, but I'm sure Villanova is being talked about after this tournament, and that could have been us so easily. So I guess that's kind of frustrating. Um, but yeah, so Arkansas had kind of a rough weekend. They started out with a double overtime win. Who did they beat? I don't remember who they beat. It's somebody, I mean, decent. I don't remember who was down there in that bracket, but Arkansas goes to double overtime with them. Pulled it off as they should have won that game. And then they, probably because they were so tired, they were the late game on the first night. What was that? Wednesday. And so probably pretty tired the next day, came back and lost to Memphis in another close, tight game. I'm sure towards the end their legs were kind of feeling it. And credit to them, I don't think it affected them much in our game. Maybe that's again the way we were playing them, and we again, of course, let a player from them go off. Trayvon Mark ended up with 34 points, 5 rebounds, shot 4 for 6 from three, 13 for 17 overall in 33 minutes, and then before he has a really bad fall, and gets actually stretchered off the court, and I'm assuming went to the hospital and stuff. There was a report came back he was fine, but who knows what he would have ended up with if he would have finished that game and we would have let him just kind of keep going off. But again, no adjustment to how to play him. It's we switch up who's guarding him, but then it's like you're on an island, go stop him. Why we can't just double team guys, make other people. I mean, I'm looking at their three pointers. He had 4 for 6. Then they have a guy that went 0 for 1, a guy that went 1 for 5, 0 for 3, 0 for 1, 0 for 1. So like double team him and just don't let him, make him take a three. Nobody else even hit one. I mean, one other guy hit a three. That's it. Um, so again, that's kind of stuff that was frustrating me. As far as us, in the Arkansas game, again, it was different. I forgot to mention the end of the Villanova game. Cormac Ryan is trying to miss a free throw, ends up twisting his ankle pretty bad, and so he sits this one out. Sounds like he could have played if it was really necessary, but this early in the season, just cautionary, didn't play him. We got a lot of big games coming up, and so Elliot Cadeau gets the start for him. Withers started again, kind of in that 4 spot, with Harrison at the 3 spot. And it looked good. I mean, we looked like we had a good. Now I'm looking at the minutes, a little kind of crazy. Withers ended up only he did. Let's see, no, he didn't follow out. Played only 16 minutes though. Seth Trimble actually played 25 in this game. So I don't know. We'll have to kind of monitor that. Obviously, Seth started the UNI game, and they didn't like how that first half went, so he didn't start again. But he's definitely getting the starter minutes here in the Arkansas game. Uh, and he did play well. He knocked down a couple threes. He had 12 points, 4 rebounds. Um, but really, the story was R.J. Davis, pretty hot. Only shot 2 for 5 from the 3-point line, but 9 for 18, very efficient overall. 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Ended up with 30 points, couple assists, couple of rebounds. Harrison Ingram again, very solid. And I just noticed this kind of too, looking at the box score. Played all 40 minutes. Went 5 for 10, so again, very efficient from the field. Probably should be shooting more than 10 shots, just the way he's been efficient. Didn't hit any threes. He was 0 for 2 in the from the 3-point line this game. But 10 rebounds to go along with his 13 points, 6 assists to 2 turnovers, couple of steals. And again, just he's kind of been our workhorse in the early season here. Armando still struggled. 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 9 shooting. Kind of the positive you say for Armando is he's hitting his free throws. He was 3 for 3 in this game. I think Villanova is 4 for 5, and just shooting a really good percentage from that. But he's just not being aggressive. He's missed a lot of easy bunnies, stuff that you'd think a 6'10" guy with the muscle that he has should go up and just dunk the ball. Just isn't playing through contact very well. And we've seen this from Armando in the past. He's struggled with contact. He struggled with physical guys, and that's obviously the story. It's the scout on him is be physical with him and kind of get him to back down early, and he never kind of comes back being really aggressive and going after people. Elliott had 7 points. I'm trying to let's see, a couple of rebounds, few assists. Like I said, his only turnover in the tournament was in this game. Did end up fouling out in this game again in 26 minutes. Sorry, just like he did in the Villanova game, having only played 17 in the Villanova game. So he was pretty spread out in the Villanova game. We had, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in double figures. Arkansas, I think we had 8 guys in double figures, but we only played 8 as well. And obviously that's with Cormac not playing any minutes, but we did see the rotation kind of dwindle down, a little more selective. No Zayden High in this game. Jalen with Washington only played 11 in this game. And then, like I said, that's without Cormac getting any minutes, sitting out with that injury. But, Seth Trimble definitely did step up, 4 for 5 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3, 4 rebounds with his 12 points. Jalen did give us 6 points, 5 rebounds in the minutes he gave us. And Paxton Wojcik actually gave us 5 in the 19 minutes he gave. And a lot of the minutes he got was late, kind of more defensive minutes as well. I don't know. I don't know what I think of Paxton Wojcik yet. He hasn't given us really anything. He did knock down a 3 in this game, but he really hasn't given us anything offensively, at least being consistent. And he's in there for his defense, I guess. but I'm not super impressed. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of holding on Paxton as far as what I think of him as a player overall. But that is Battle for Atlantis. Recap all in one. Nintendo Nerd is in here. He says, big concern is the free throws. If we just hit a few more against Villanova, we win that game, no overtime. Did we struggle that badly? Let me see here. Yeah, 16 for 23. We were 5 for 7 in the first half. We were 8 for 12. I mean, we didn't miss a ton. 8 for 12 in the second half. I mean, you're not going to expect me to go perfect, but yeah, if we shoot that, 70% to 75% like we did in the first half and in the overtime, then we win that game. Obviously, it's tied to go into overtime. I'm looking against UNI. We shot 87%, so obviously much better. And then in Arkansas, we shot 61% in the first half, 82% in the second half for a 71 overall. So yeah, we shoot that 70 to 75 that we've been shooting, and we definitely do win against Villanova. Um, you wonder, is it because it's tight? Is it because it's such a close game? Is it the second game in 2 days? Guys are adjusting, get used to. I don't know, but you're right. We did struggle there a little bit. I wouldn't say I would be concerned about that, but definitely a good observation there of something we could have won. Kind of, again, one free throw there. Obviously, you don't know how the rest of the game plays out if we're up by one or something like that late in the game. But um, like I said, decent outing. I think fair outcome for the Tar Heels as far as that tournament goes. And the weekend, well, it wasn't really over the weekend. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but the holiday tournament. I think we come out of there kind of where we wanted to be as far as record goes, but obviously we would have wanted to be in the championship as opposed to in the third place game. But it is what it is, and now we focus our eyes ahead and uh, we look to what is to come. So, like I said, I'm traveling on this Wednesday when we play Tennessee. We play Tennessee on the 29th on ESPN in Chapel Hill. It's the ACC SEC Challenge, first year of that. And we that's a 7:15 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN. Should be a good one. Tennessee had been ranked seven this week. They ended up losing to Kansas and Purdue. Right, it was probably the other order. I think they lost to Purdue first and then Kansas, but ended up losing to those. So they'll probably drop in the polls, but still a really good team. They got their transfer Dalton Connect or something like that will knock down threes. We're gonna have to guard him. He's if somebody kind of goes off against us, I kind of see it being him. They're still working their little point guard Ziegler back in after his ACL last year. He seems to be getting a little bit more minutes. I think towards the end of that tournament, he was, I think, possibly starting and playing a little bit more. So that's something kind of watch because they're only going to get better as he gets better. And then they got that Vestaviv or whatever his name is, just a feisty defensive player. I would assume probably play Ingram at this point, the way he's been going, and maybe some RJ just to be physical with him and try to slow him down. But that's going to be an interesting and a tough game. Obviously, me living in Tennessee is a little bit more interest in that one too. And already heard people, hey, we got you on Wednesday, and they're not too scared. I would say they're looking forward to this one. Obviously, hopefully, being in Chapel Hill, it gives us a little bit more of an advantage there, home court. But that should be a really good one. And we don't slow down from there. We're coming off, obviously the battle for Atlantis. We got Tennessee on Wednesday, then Saturday, the December 2nd, Florida State comes to Chapel Hill for the first ACC game of the season. That will be a 2 p.m. Eastern tip on the ACC network. Um, I haven't seen much of Florida State's results. I think they're supposed to be a little bit down, but obviously we've struggled. They always have some length, athletic guys. That will be an intriguing one, and obviously we want to start the ACC off on the right foot. We don't need to dig ourselves any holes here to try to get out of later. And then we kind of turn around, not a quick turnaround, pretty normal, but on that next Tuesday, December 5th, we go up to New York to the Madison Square Garden, and we play UConn on ESPN. That's a 9 p.m. Eastern tip. They're in New York, obviously defending champs. I don't know where they're ranked. They won their tournament. I think they're top 5 for sure, top 10. They're looking pretty good. I think they're missing one of their better players. I don't know if he'll be back by that time or not, but that should be again a really tough game. I don't know if I would say we're picked to win that one. I mean, again, if these next 3 games here, if we look at it kinda like we're looking at the Battle for Atlantis, I kinda said if we come out of there 2-1, we're doing pretty good. If we come out of these games 2-1, I'd say we're doing pretty good. 1 and 2, I don't think we have to fret too much. If we go 0 and 3, that's a little bit of a red flag. If we go 1 and 2, it's like, ah, that stinks, but we should be okay, especially if Florida State's our win. If we get that ACC win, it's okay. But obviously, we want to get some non-conference big time wins to bolster the conference and get that outside of conference stuff going our way as well. So if we can beat Tennessee, beat Florida State, if we do drop UConn, I think we're okay. And obviously, if we go 0 and 3, if we get all 3 of them, that's really good for us. And of course, we'd have no problems with that. But um, Nintendo Nerd says, I hope Baycot's taking time to gel with these new guys who can actually contribute. We need him Wednesday. Yeah, we're definitely going to need a big game from Baycott against Tennessee. I think that's kind of where our advantage. I mean, it should be every game. We have an All-American big guy. That should be our advantage every game. But I know UConn's got a good big guy as well, and it's going to be can they equal each other out, and then our guards beat their guards, kind of thing. But definitely Wednesday, Paycot's going to be a big or hopefully will be a big factor. Um, I guess you could say either way. If he's off like he's been, it's a big factor against us. If he's back on and his normal self, that's a big plus for us. And again, Florida State's always got length. If that flusters him and stuff like that, it's going to make it a lot harder on us if he can attack those big guys and get them in foul trouble and all that kind of stuff. Florida State, hopefully, again, we start the ACC off 1-0. And like I said, with UConn, he's gotta kind of eliminate their big guy and play that kind of even so that it comes down to our guards and hopefully our guards can do that. So kind of for us as we look forward, obviously getting Cormac back healthy, I think he should be okay. He might be a little tender on Wednesday, but I think he should be able to play. And then getting Elliott to come along, I think that's kind of our X factor. We talked in the preseason, who is our X factor? We talked a lot about it. I guess you could say Ingram maybe, but he's more been just so consistent. The more we get Elliott coming along, obviously we can't have him foul out every game, but get him playing those minutes, getting him in there with RJ, getting him pushing the pace like he's been doing so well. Driving, he's maybe needs to be a little bit more selective with the shots he takes as he's driving, but he's knocking down a three, here and there. I know he had one in Villanova game. He had one in the Arkansas game. He had one in the UNI game as well. So knocking down one just to kind of keep them honest. And then, as he progresses, I think that's what gets us to be better. And then, of course, we need that depth to still be there. We can't just have Zayden High check out. We can't just have Jalen Washington be like, I'm not getting as many minutes as I was earlier. I'm not getting as many as I want, and whatever. Everybody's got to kind of stay invested and keep improving. And I think we got the pieces. People are like, I'm seeing flashes of last year, and they're there, but in smaller doses. And I think we have the pieces to make this a really good season. But it's up to them. It's up to the pieces to kind of put it all together and get it going. I'm not gonna say it's automatic. We have to kind of get those pieces together for this to be the season we want it to be. Um, Otherwise, it definitely could flip the other way, which we don't want. So that's what we got coming up. Again, some big time exciting games. I kind of hate that I'm on vacation for these. I don't know that I'm going to be able to watch that Florida State game during the day. I got the DVR set for all of these. It's going to be a late one, trying to stay up and watch that UConn game the night before I travel back. Hopefully, I don't even know if they have ESPN. I will find it somewhere in ACC network. I don't know that's going to be there. So if I got Wi-Fi, I guess I can watch it on my phone. But um, I'll see what I can do. But like I said, the tweets out during the game, that kind of stuff. I've been putting up highlight videos on YouTube. I'll see what I can do. But that stuff might fall off here for the next 3 games before we're back at it. But Appreciate everybody watching, listening to the podcast, however you're taking it in. And again, I just say subscribe where you are, and if you would share it with a friend or family member who is also a Tar Heel fan, and we'll unite Tar Heel Nation. But yeah, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep cheering these guys on and stay behind them, and hopefully it gets or keeps rolling on the right path. I think we're there. We just got to keep it going on the right path. So appreciate everybody checking in and being here. I'm your host Dan DeWitt for the UNC Hoops Talk podcast. Checking out until after the UConn game. Until then, go Heels.